And in health, organ harvesting came into prominence in the last 4 decades. It is the sale and purchase of human organs for transplantation and one of the most global crimes perpetrated by humans at the moment. The most transported organ by people is the kidney, and due to the demand greater than supply, thousands remain on the waiting list. Hence, the move by some to boycott the system for quick fix. While organ harvesting may save a life, in most cases, the absence of regulations or consent means many have been abducted, trafficked, and killed sometimes in the process. So, what is the legality of organ harvesting specifically in Nigeria? News Central's Niyi explores this.
The most frequently found news item or information concerning organ harvesting on social media or news platform is about Ekweremadu, former Deputy President of Senate of Nigeria, who was imprisoned in the UK for his involvement. The law of the country where the aforementioned senator was jailed, despite multiple pleas from Nigeria's elite, strongly disapproves of the organ harvest plot, despite the controversy surrounding it. Therefore, it is important to comprehend whether organ harvesting is lawful, especially in Nigeria.
In Section 53 and Section 55 talks about donations in will. Section 53 that you shall not get monetary compensations for donations made. So the presumption ordinarily is that there ought to be a donation. It is not that the law is saying that anybody, the medical doctor, can just take anybody to the theater and transplant the person's organ. No.
You have to get the consent of the donor. If the donor is underage, then you have to get the consent of the parents. So we have to be very clear on that. If not, then what's going to happen is people can be grabbed because somebody feels there's an emergency to donate an organ.
Medical professionals have repeatedly demanded that the 2014 National Health Act be reviewed in order to improve the regulation of organ harvesting.
I think what they did in the National Health Act is basically to allow anybody's organ to be taken with the authorization given by the doctor. The law itself, in that the Section 48 has to be taken out because there is nothing like an emergency that waives a consent. What we do in the hospital could be classified basically as medical emergency.
Professor Philip Njemazi alleges that the Health Act was sponsored by a trafficking gang indicting Nigeria's 7th National Assembly.
And we know this for sure, that these are billionaires from the United States who funded this organ trafficking cartel. We know for sure they funded the National Assembly, who are actually moving into Nigeria in order to actually buy up, or they have already paid an advance on all our organs.
Detective Andy, who investigated Senator Ekwerimadu's case, discusses contemporary slavery and the need for victims to speak out.
In this case, the people that were convicted exerted their political influence and power and control over a young man who was vulnerable by his economic circumstances, who was trafficked to the UK without any knowledge of what he was doing here. Modern slavery is present throughout our communities in many different formats. Just report it.
While many believes that Ekweremadu deserves pity since many parents can go to any length to seek help for their loved ones, the guilty verdict pronounced by Justice Jeremy Johnson at Bailey Court in London on him shows that not everything is always possible and a serious lesson for Nigerians who love to cut corners. Niyi, Omoniyi, reporting for News Central.